Okay, this angle just might work. Ah. Ah! Crap. Damn it, my water. Anywho. Alright, let's finish up. Alright. Let's finish up with episode 34. The Special Crimes Unit has set up a trap to locate the monster of the week, who is after the evidence of cases 12 years ago surrounding Shinosuke's dad's death. And it turns out that Nero was the Roy Mute that was stealing the evidence and was actually the one who murdered Shinosuke's dad. Finally, they did something with this asshole, so I can hate him more. It seems to get the hell out more. Anywho. Nero was jealous of Isuke, and when he was at the robbery 12 years ago, it was a planned hit. Nero would kill Isuke, and Freeze would cover for him, and to top it off, the first of the villains to evolve into their final evolution was Brain, due to Nero's jealousy. So, in episode 35, Nero's on the run, and while he's... Nero's on the run, and he's also taken a hostage and injected a poison inside of them. And and he eventually reveals himself again, but to the media, to discredit the KamenRiders. And how does he do that? First, Nira and Brain throw Threes under the bus, and two, they use fake news to turn the authorities against them. Alright, Shinosuke finds Nira first, and he's back at the unit's office with the police outside ready to bust in an hour. So in episode 36, Brain enters the room to reveal with Nira that their goal was to break Shinosuke's morality, and further do so by antagonizing him enough to pull out his gun and shoot Nira. And he actually does it. Mind you, he missed, but he still does it. But you want to know who doesn't miss while shooting a gun? Nira, because he offs Shinosuke. Or so we think. When he shot Shinosuke, he used Dimension Cab, another shift car, to basically capture the bullet and send it to basically stop Shinosuke. He basically slowed down the bullet, and Shinosuke faked being dead. The writers expose themselves again, the writers reveal themselves again, and that Shinosuke is still alive, and basically tell the truth to the press about Nira and Brain. And so, after that, they fight. Nira is taken down and finally arrested. So Shinosuke technically does avenge his dad, and Brain is defeated and reduced to a core for Medic to torture and patch up later. Alright, and so that finally takes care of Shinosuke's story. So, episode 37. Heart gets upset with Medic about her methods of doing her job through sacrificing their comrades. Alright, that's there. And Heart and Drive have a little battle that leads into the next episode. Now, yes, the Roy Mutes want to take over, but they want to overthrow humanity. And here's how Heart, he more or less does it with a code of honor. Like, how do I basically describe it is, well, what he wants is to face humanity and show that the Roy Mutes could evolve too, and even more. Like, he's basically Magneto, although he's technically saying, look, we want to enslave humanity and all, but killing people, whoa. That's crazy, man. So, towards the latter half of episode 38, the good guys have an opening to kill Medic, and Shinosuke stops Go from doing it to pay back Heart. And so, Medic and Heart make up and express right in front of everyone that Roy Mutes could love one another too. and Hart evolves into his super form, and the blast from his transformation was so huge that it could have killed them, but instead, Bano steps in and saves them, creating a force field to let them escape. Yeah, just like I thought it was going to snow, but yeah. But episode 39, Ghost cover is blown when Bano steps away for a minute, only to reveal himself at the drive pit to everyone later. Krim's 100% against working with Bano and calls him the devil. And for proof to show that he's on their side, he locates the enemy's location only for him to turn on them later. Yeah, here's the truth. Bano was a madman. He tortured and abused his Roimute experiments, including Hart. And with Hart, it was especially intentional, since Hart's human form was based on a man that refused to give Bano tenure for his experiments. Is that snow? Oh crap, we're in trouble. It's gonna snow soon. Okay, moving on. And so, but once Krim found out about his work, and as opposed to stealing his work, all his information, how he does it and everything, and to make sure he doesn't do it again, he instead says, I'm done with you, and no longer wants to associate with him. And so, Bano has a Roimute steal the drive driver and copies the blueprints to create his own drive driver. And in the next episode, episode 40, I was on episode 39. Oh, I must have skipped ahead again. Oh, I skipped it. Oh, wait, no, I didn't. Fuck. This is episode 30. Okay. Skipping ahead, episode 41. It marks the debut of KamenRider Gold Drive. So let's talk about his look. If there was to be an evil version of Drive itself, this would be it. Gold as opposed to red, and red in the eyes to fit in the whole super evolution thing, and to actually have the closest representation to one of the Roimutes. This suit works. And in episode 42, Medic gets her super evolved form, and when episode 42 ends, Gold Drive actually brainwashes Medic, which leaves her acting more robotic. So, episode 43, this officially begins the late romance plot of Shinosuke and Kiriko, because this entire time they've secretly both liked each other. And how it starts is that Shinosuke one day spies on chasing Kiriko, and the next day he asks him if he loves her. He does the same thing with Kiriko, and they both respond the exact same way. So, alright, so, long time. We're wrapping up now, so let's recap. There are 22 Roimutes left, and now that I say that out loud, this war against mechanical life forms sounds less like a war and more like a genocide. Anyway, Bano's now taking charge after attempting to start another global freeze to rule everything and everyone, human and Roimute. He wants to turn anyone into data like him and Krim and permit life to whoever will worship him. And in order to make the second global freeze, Bano will need all three of them, Heart, Medic, and Brain. Brain's out on the run, and he's hiding as a truck driver, yet still keeps his glasses. I'll be real right now, this entire time, Brain's been looking like a Japanese Elton John. And he eventually gets caught by a robotic medic and Roimutes. And I'm sorry, this next part, the next thing I'm going to say is just going to be talking about how it's done. Like, Brain is hiding as a truck driver and driving a truck, and then everyone pops out of nowhere to surprise him and is blocking his view. And so he's just driving on one side to another side to another side of the road. I'm sorry. That gag is just generic. And when I see that, heck, even when I saw that, I was just thinking, okay, unless you want to get into an accident, how about you hit the brakes? I'm just saying. Like, just saying. Unless you want to get into an accident. Then again, truck drivers in Tokusatsu, they always seem to get into accidents. Huh. Anywho, they all find Brain. Both Bano and Shinosuke have a fight about it. And then Heart soon intervenes and sides with Bano to protect Brain and Medic. And episode 44. Alright, I want to take a break. Let's talk about something that's funny to me. KamenRider June. Rina creates a driver so that any of the police officers that will be helping them in the final battle can actually move during the slowdown, and the chief uses one of the drivers. As soon as he transforms, he gets stuck. Like, he literally can't move. Not to mention, the suit alone, it's a straight up... It's like, they basically put together like a motorcycle outfit and called him a Kamen Rider there. The hell do I care? It's funny. Alright. Alright, now, the police have declared a state of emergency, so everyone needs to get out of town. And that is awesome. We're reaching the end point now, and I have never not once ever seen in a show the police go as far as to clear out an entire city. To think about it, what they're looking for is Bano and where he could launch like the second global freeze, and that could be anywhere. And so what they're doing now is basically limiting like the civilian casualties. That's great. That's great forward thinking. And so Brain willingly sides with Bano because he's a bitch. Yeah, it's a trick right now, but Brain's still a bitch. And soon, the Kamen Riders make their next move once they've discovered Bano preparing his Sigma Circular, his device where he'll launch this global freeze from, to take position and activate. Alright, and once the circular is powered up, it attacks Medic, stripping her of her healing powers, and can also kill her. And not allowing that to happen, Brain reveals his true intention of switching sides to reverse the further extent of Medic's brainwashing from her to shut it off, at the cost of him sacrificing himself. And Brain dies calling himself faithful to both Heart and Medic. So, with all of his enemies surrounding him, Bano takes the Sigma Circular and regroups, leaving everyone in a magnetic shield to die. Which doesn't happen. Well, because of two reasons. One, the Roymute that stole the drive driver to make Gold Drive Driver 004, he blows himself up just so they can all kill each other there. Oh, which, by the way, 004, he took the form of Krim's human form. I didn't want to mention it because it happens and that's it. He didn't really do anything else afterwards, or at all. And Mach uses dead heat to get everyone out so that everyone will be alive and alright. And so, episode 45, Bano sends his minions to the drive pit, to trash it, and everything's wasted, and so they move their operations to a new secret base that Krim's had in secret, led by Hayase. And so now, the final battle begins. The Kamen Riders head for the Special Defense Center, where Bano and the last 6 Roymutes and join up with Heart and Medic. So our heroes and our villains join forces to defeat an even greater evil. So Mach and Bano have their prequel to a final battle, and I say prequel because Go really gives it his all, but just gets curve stomped, and so much that Chase has to come in to back him up, which leads to Chase getting curve stomped, which results in him getting his driver, well, broken and reverting to his machine chaser form, which doesn't work. Go's injured, but Chase is heavily injured, and throughout the series, Go and Chase in Go's mind were nothing more but enemies, because all he saw him as was another thing that his father created. He acted very cold towards Chase just for being a Roymute. Well, now, the same Roymute that defected and considered Go his friend, despite it not being mutual, sacrifices himself by running up to Gold Drive to self-destruct himself with the intent of killing Bano. I gotta admit, that's some heavy shit right there. Like, it's heavy shit. Oh, man. Alright, but I do sort of have like one critique though. I'm pretty sure the intent of suicide bombing is to basically blow yourself up along with anything else in the surrounding area, because Gold Drive still lives. But so, Mach, not taking it, decides to use Chase's signal bike, which he left him before he, blew himself up, to transform into Mach Chaser. Well, as you can say, because it's okay. Fans would call it like KamenRider Mach Chaser, but it's the upper half of Mach with like the Chaser suit down at the bottom. It's basically that, and with it, Go whoops the brakes off of Gold Drive, completely destroying him, leaving all that's left being the driver. And so Go takes the signal axe and the signal axe, by the way, is Chase's weapon, and he straight up obliterates Bano as a driver, killing his dad. Like, god damn. For as long as I've been watching KamenRider, it's been very rare that I've seen like some of the final bosses or main villains just have pretty egregious deaths. This has to be up there. Like, this definitely has to be up there. Like, you're just left as a belt and you just get broken, no warranty. That's damn. It's just damn. And so, there ends Mach's, story and subplot there with his dad. Yeah. And so, back with Heart, Shinosuke, and Medic, they've been storming the building to get to the Sigma Circular. Medic eventually is left behind because she is starting to die without her healing powers. So Shinosuke and Heart head to the Sigma Circular themselves. Medic heads there and soon starts to die. But before she fully disintegrates, like, she gives the last of her healing powers to Shinosuke so that him and Heart can do a simultaneous finisher with the power of with the power of all of the shift cars, using type Trideron's powers. They do it. They destroy the Sigma Circular, since it became, now that it's sentient. Well, they destroy it, and that's that there. And an exhausted Shinosuke falls through a window, only for Heart to save him. But while Shinosuke is unconscious, yeah, I said that word right. Like, I guess he has, well, a delusion of the next Kamen Rider after him, Kamen Rider Ghost, and he's telling him to run towards the light. Yeah, he's not telling him to die, he's telling him to wake up. And once he wakes up, Heart then tries to fight him, now that he's literally the only Roimute left. In my opinion, it's more like a mercy kill at this point, since Heart is the only one left. All of his, well, brethren are dead. He's not really tech efficient, so to rebuild 107 robots to have their own distinctive personalities and be able to evolve, yeah, not really up his alley. So at this point, it might as well be a mercy kill. But Shinosuke doesn't fight back because, well, there's no need to fight back. The war is basically over. And yet, it's completely understandable between both humans and Roimutes. We're not too far apart. Like, Roimutes are a carbon copy of humans, of how we've evolved and how we'll continue to evolve in the future. What Heart's problem is that he's a victim of one of humanity's biggest sins, racism. That is what fueled him to go at. That is what fueled him to basically that's what fueled him for like everything that he ever did. But he learned, and well, everyone else learned, that, well, not everyone is corrupt. Not everyone is, well, prejudiced or biased or, hell, corrupted, because, like I said, Kyutaro and a Roimute were actually friends. Heart actually shows compassion towards Shinosuke, who thought of him as an enemy, but he said this a while back. Heart is not a simple guy. He's complex. He would rather him seek redemption than to kill him. Mind you, Heart's gonna die anyway, because once they found the Sigma Circular, it activated its defense systems, and Heart ended up taking a pillar to the chest. And so, yeah, he's gonna die anyway. But before he dies, he asks Shinosuke, or more or less tells him, to never forget about the Roimutes, to remember that they existed, to remember their history, and to never let it die in vain. And with that said, Heart dies, making at least one human friend. Oh, and by the way, this is episode 47, and there are only like 48 episodes in this show, to which I learned when watching it. So yeah, this is episode 47, and it feels a lot more precious here. And I wondered at first how come there wasn't any, and I wondered at first how come it didn't end in like a final battle with the final villain and the main writer. It didn't need to. Like, it honestly, it didn't need to. It made the fact that Shinosuke didn't want to fight, it said something about this entire, well, war. It's like it's like an apology, like saying, I'm sorry, this is what happened to you, and trying to understand from each other, like, how they see things. and how they're not too different after all. And so, back at the base, back at the second base, everyone is celebrating their victory and wonder where Krim is. So they all go back to the drive base. Krim has all of the shift cars and all of the vehicles back at the drive pit so that they can go into hibernation, so that no evil hands will be able to use his technology. And so everyone says their goodbyes, and Krim actually shoots out a hologram of his human form. And he drops a hint that Shinosuke likes Kiriko, and Shinosuke returns the shift brace, and everyone says their goodbyes. And with that said, the Special Crimes Unit then disbands because Ghostbusters 2 logic. Like, once the monsters have been defeated, there's no reason to be together. And at least no one does children's party entertainment. Shinosuke and Kiriko are on their way to clean up their office, and they get pulled over by a highway patrol cop. The takeaway? The highway patrol cop looks just like Chase. And so, leading us into the final episode, episode 48, I'm basically gonna sum it up here. Kamen Rider Ghost is in this episode. Shinosuke is on a case. Shinosuke, while on the case, learns that he doesn't need Krim anymore because he's a great cop, and he solves the case. He gets transferred to the 1st Division Police, and that's the end of the show. Oh, and just so the romance subplot between Kiriko and Shinosuke doesn't be forgotten, they say that they get married and have a kid, to which we'll talk about later since the movies are all canon. But yeah, that has been Kamen Rider Drive. I really like this show. Like, it started to be good when I started watching it. Then it reached a great territory with that latter half. So with that said, let's finally get to the character analysis. Shinosuke. Shinosuke is a great mate. Shinosuke is a great character. He's easy to like, and he's completely competent. And for a for a sort of cop drama, this is what you started off with. The guy that knows he's competent and needed to get back in the game. It's like, yeah, because that incident with Hayase really got to him. And thanks to Krim, which I might as well talk about next, he was able to really save the world, get back into the game as a cop, and, well, he also got promoted, too. Now, let's also talk about Krim. These two work well. These two work well together. They're obviously not similar. Krim is a logical genius, and wise, and Shinosuke Shinosuke is smart. Like, Krim is basically there. He's basically there to be the guide for Shinosuke to do all the work and figure things out himself. And honestly have a real good partnership they have a real partnership with each other, and they do a great job of supporting each other. When Freeze was on the loose and making his move, both Krim and Shinosuke both argued about going after him and not going after him. It really shows how their relationship is with each other, because they both really care and are both dedicated to the job. All right, so next, Kiriko. I've read somewhere or heard from somewhere that she eventually becomes like the trophy girl of the show. Honestly, I don't see that, because she's still pretty competent. Like, although for a weapon, I wish she didn't always have that Tommy gun, because it really doesn't do anything at all. But Kiriko has a weapon. Like, if Shinosuke couldn't do it, she was going to either do it himself or tell him to get off his ass. And that's great. You need that type of friend. And she was just completely... She was the one with the better connections. Because she was the one that could have persuaded Chase, as well as reasoned with her brother. Speaking of which, of her brother, Go is a tough case to crack, because with most of the series is him coming off as a douche, but when he's not a douche, he's, well, not a douche. But he is reckless, though. I guess I should have mentioned for Go. At the end, he goes on he basically goes hitchhiking until Professor Harley picks him up, and they go off on wherever. But yeah, with Go alone, his story is good, but his character is more in the middle. That's really the only way I could describe it right now. Really. Man, but it takes so long for him to finally accept Chase as a friend. Well, he's in the middle. Now, Chase is hilarious. Like, I want to give all the props right now to Chase's actor, because he is so damn straight with his acting. Like, he always has on a straight face no matter what. Sometimes he'll intensify his eyes or something, but for funny moments, like once Shinosuke, not like back with Nira, once Shinosuke and Go, no, like once Chase and Go give Shinosuke the signal that the person that was injected with poison is all right, he has a straight face on and he gives a thumbs up. Like, I started laughing. Man, Chase is funny, and he's a pretty good tertiary writer as well. And his story continues in the movies, to which I will still get to. So let's talk about the Special Crimes Unit as a whole. Reno was pretty useful. The chief, he was fine for the most part. He didn't do anything until later when Shinosuke revealed himself as Drive, and that's where he got more useful. But even if so, the chief was funny. Like, all he wants to do in life is have a good relationship with his daughter, but then stuff happens to him and he just goes, "Aw." Alright. Now, Kyutaro, at first I wanted to step like 2 feet away from him, but he was still very useful. And Gen, he was a smeghead, more or less, through and through, more or less. And so next, let's talk about the villains. Medic was my favorite. I'm just gonna put that out there right now. Medic was my favorite. Heart, he was my second favorite, because he was such a different type of villain. And I want to do a video on this at some point. Racism in Tokusatsu and how it's handled. Because, best believe, like, I guess Hart was more like a freedom fighter. Now that I think about it at the end. Brain, he was my least favorite. And the only times he ever made me laugh was when he was a meme. Or whenever he was jealous of Medic and Hart, since he must really have a crush on him or something. like at any time. Like, well, what can I say? To quote Tokucast, both Brain and Medic were both after one thing from Heart, that dick. Moving on. Just moving on. No, let's talk about the villains more. I like Heart. I like Medic. I really like Medic. She was a war general of a villain. Like, she wasn't just going all the time Heart-Osama. She was a freaking scientist, for crying out loud, since she was the one who, well, was the healer for all of the Roy-Mutes. And so, that is just, not to mention, I feel like Medic is the second most evil, and I really like that. A competent, threatening female villain with all types of powers to heal or hell, take away life for that matter, since she does actually kill a few people. So, next, Bono, Gold Drive. Great villain. And he might be one of the better, and if not the best, Kamen Rider villain out there currently. Like, here's how it is. Like, and I don't know how to say this, but there's Shadow Moon, and then there's Gold Drive. And Gold Drive was a lot more wicked in this case, because Shadow Moon, he just didn't give two shits and did whatever the fuck he wanted. Like, Gold Drive, however, he did not give a million shits and did whatever the fuck he wanted. And that's just how he rolled, and it was amazing. And having his son be the one who take him out really puts a twist on the phrase, I brought you into this world and I can take you out, but now the son is the one who takes dad out. Ugh. Yeah. KamenRider Drive is an excellent show. The villains are compelling. The heroes are amazing and likable. And it's less of a war and more of a conflict between two different races that haven't figured it out yet, that they can both coincide if they wanted to. And I loved every second of it. Everything was interesting. The fact that it was all two-parters and sort of Victim of the Week-esque, I liked it better here because the criminals in this show didn't give a shit. And to be fair more, and I'm going to compare this to Kamen Rider W. With the Victims of the Week in this show, they were the monsters. They weren't colluding with the monsters. And the detectives would give them a chance to surrender. The cops, on the other hand, they're going to go by the book and arrest them. And I think that makes it a lot more better because it's a lot more harder. And with that said, that's been KamenRider Drive. Thank you guys for watching. And next time, we will be looking at KamenRider Drive Saga, KamenRider Chaser, to which I've already seen, and I already have my thoughts on that. So, thank you guys for watching. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, share this video, and tell your friends about KamenRider Blackman. And let's enjoy let's enjoy the second half of Drive Month. See you guys next time.